Okay. I'm playing music that my friend Barbara wrote back in 2006. She was living in Philadelphia. I was living in Sutton, New Hampshire. And we'd known each other in college. And I always had this immense amount of respect for her. And I didn't even know her that well. Like, as much as, man hours spent with each other. But the impact of those moments was deep, She always told me that the first night we hung out, afterwards she felt like she was tripping for a week. Which I recognize makes me sound like I'm being, like I'm that intense. But really what it speaks to is how profoundly we can touch each other when we're being honest with each other. And the brief moments through time that she has touched me has affected me so much more than a week-long trip. One of the reasons I always respected her was because she was I think she was a year younger than me, but she was graduating when I was still, an early sophomore, so to speak. And she was still a virgin. I hope this doesn't in any way come back. I hope this doesn't come back to haunt you in any way, Barbara. But she was 22 years old, and the symbolism isn't lost on me that, 22 and 22 characters in the Jewish alphabet, and she's Jewish, It's like we can't reduce everything to symbolism, but things click, And whatever Judaism is, she represents to me. She's a profoundly beautiful person. In 2006, she'd come up to see me. I wouldn't say matured or grown, but she was kind of a different person, and when I knew her, she wrote songs and played the guitar. But I don't know if you can hear what I'm playing right now, but I'm trying to reminisce, remember. And it just blew me away. And inspired me to write like my first song I ever wrote that I considered like a real full-bodied song, even if it was imperfectly played or made or recorded or whatever. Like, it was like she came softly through time and space, touched my heart, and it's quite true that the beauty I found in this mess of my life now, I'd never have found had she not come then, when she did. And in that way, as she touched me then, 14 years ago, it is related to, like there is a line, the light travels at a speed. We travel through a speed, spinning on Earth, spinning around the sun, spinning around the galaxy, and so on. So light traveling is one way, sound's traveling another way. And like somehow, when I think of David and Beatrice Weir and like the musicians, the song that pleased the Lord. Like where sound and light meet through time. Part of the reason she came then was to touch me then. Part of the reason she came then was to touch me now. And that's not, it is poetic and it's this reminiscent soft thing, but there's a hardness to it in so much as sound and light meet, time and space meet in certain places. That's why. It's still going? Still going. Got a ways to go. That's why. Let's see, I have a little, I'm not sure if it can be seen, I have a little piece of paint stuck to one of my hairs at the end of my beard. Hold on. Where'd it go? Oh no, it's on this side. That's why I couldn't find it. There it is. There's a little piece of paint stuck to one of the hairs at the end of my beard. This little piece might be long enough where I can even see it. Okay, so at the end of my fingers, there's a hair with a piece of paint on it. Not sure if it can be focused on. Can you see? There's a little piece, one drop. It's even smaller than a drop of paint at the end of one of the hairs at the end of my beard. Can you see it? I'll probably pluck it. Yep, I'm gonna pluck it. There's a little piece of paint stuck at the end of the hair. Little piece of paint stuck at the end of the hair that was on my beard and now is in my hand. I'm gonna save it. Being a painter, I know how big a drop of paint is, and that's smaller than a drop of paint. It's like a piece of a drop of paint. And there it is at the end of my beard hair. So like I have this whole face of hair, and I had this one little piece sticking out, and as a drop passed it, a piece of the drop touched it and met. And that's a fine line of geometry, you know. So you play this chord through time. You shine this color of light through time, which is multiple wavelengths. You have this sound traveling through time with multiple wavelengths. You have this light through time of multiple wavelengths traveling at different speeds, but there's this circle, and there are reflections, you know? Because you have the moon bouncing off the earth, bouncing off the moon, bouncing off the earth, bouncing off the moon, bouncing off the earth, bouncing off the moon, bouncing off the earth, from the sun to the moon to the earth, to the moon to the earth, to the moon to the earth. Like, there's all these bouncing reflections, all these waves bouncing off each other. Light waves, sound waves, all these things. And some piece of these, you know, because every movement is this like conglomeration. And it's not just particles, but that's how I'm thinking of it now, you know. But like these things come, and like one thing is moving so slowly, and this other thing's moving so fast, and it's choo 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 choo. But all of a sudden, this little thing meets. That's why there's no unified theory, because we're just not thinking fine enough about the way things perfectly meet. And where these things meet, you know? Like, before I mentioned how, like, the ears curled because if you press the ears together, that's where we spiral out from. I never thought of it that way until I said it, which is one of the important reasons for me why I'm doing this, is because sometimes we don't know what we're thinking until we hear ourselves say it, and sometimes we can't have the thought that succeeds the thought we just had until we hear ourselves say it aloud, which is one of the reasons why reading aloud used to be so important, and among esoteric philosophy, it's important to read aloud to oneself, because then you're marrying the vision of the words with their sound, with the images in our mind that we conjure up when we speak. Yeah, I'm going to save that. And that, it seems complicated. There were many drops of paint today. There were many gallons of paint. On my way home, I stopped at the store for some groceries. I stopped at a place for gas. One of the popular things that people say to painters, I've noticed, is, especially when I wear like the sweatshirt, which as it so happens is dirty, but if I were to run it through the washer, which I did recently, it would pretty much look the same because paint lasts through washings. So even when I'm wearing my cleanest clothes, people will often ask me, "Did you get any on the building?" It's a very popular question to painters. You'd know if you are. I can't remember my response. For a long time I said, I used to mention something like it's casual Friday at the bank. But paint went everywhere, but like the one that made an impact on the story today, the moral of the story, was that one little impossible one that I couldn't have done had I tried. And God knows that drop continued going somewhere else that didn't matter, but where those pieces of the cord met that piece of the cord of life, symbolic, struck me. When I started this video, I was going to talk about the tetrahedron. I was going to talk about the Wu Chi, which this is my symbol of. Which looks like part of a circle with a dot, but if you turned it sideways at the right angle, it would look like an eye. Like this way, here's my dot, here's my green line, so it would look like a dot with a line. But sideways, it's the Wu Chi, or at least my symbol of it, which is a dotted circle that precedes the yin-yang. But this is also a dotted circle of a different type. And I was going to talk about how the Eisenstein numbers relate to the Wizard of Oz. It's the Alpha and the Omega. Much like the A and the Z, which in Eisenstein numbers would be 0 and omega squared, 0, omega, omega. But omega was the last number in Greek, and in English the last number, or the last letter is a Z. So OZZ is O, omega, omega. And I know I have to make the big picture, how that all relates to a tetrahedron. 4 points. the minimum number of spatial points of anything that can exist in space as a body. With the fifth point being the center. Because a tetrahedron is 4 points. But a tetrahedron has a center. A definite, absolute center. The fifth point. Fiveness is always associated with the pentagon or the pentagram. But fiveness first appears in a tetrahedron. Because 4 points are required for spatial objects. And 4 points have a center. The simplest object in the world should be studied because then they build all this technology, all this stuff, and people talk about like artificial intelligence. But artificial is like artifice. Making things, even clumsily. Builds all that beauty in our mind. I'll have more to say about it. I've said more about it. Tetrahedron. It's not just about shapes, the geometers and all that. It's not just about shapes. It's about just shapes. And the way that they're built inside of us, the way that we spiral out. But when I said, you know, if you press things together, this is where we spiraled out from. But this is also where we spiraled out from. Because it was all these points that make up our body that started in one cell. Off center. So where is the center?
Dreams and hopes. Would you
to bring these together and bring them here, and here. It's hard in a world that's so tough. Which is why, so far as free will is concerned, we have to choose to do the right thing, even if it fails. We try to do the right thing and it fails. We try to do the right thing and it fails. And we keep trying and keep trying, even though it's failed. We don't believe past results as being the truth that is to come. Because we try, and then we succeed. And we try and fail and 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 try and fail. And then we succeed. And we try and fail and 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 try and fail. And then we succeed. And those successes build on each other. And it's very personal and it's very social. Good luck. Good wishes. Good prayers. Good praise. Good for you. It's awesome to be inspired by beauty. The beauty that is not just the reflection of what we see, but the beauty of what we feel. And I'm reminding myself because I'm very flawed. I'm trying to learn to love flawed. Because others are flawed too. And if we can get beyond it, it's so beautiful.